Thank you very much, guys. Maybe I just start from telling you simply about the source of inspiration for this speech, because last Saturday, me and my wife decided to go to a disco. So we visited a couple of discos, pubs, and clubs in Warsaw. It's kind of difficult because we have a baby boy, so it's been the first time since I don't remember even since when. But anyway, we went to those discos, and to my surprise, I still saw the same behaviors that guys over there had. So you probably have seen it. This is a bunch of guys, two guys in a group, and what they do is they just hang around the bar. They just let's say keep staring at the dance floor, and they shield themselves with a pint of beer over here, and just keep sharking. It's like looking for the most attractive women. They take up their courage, and eventually, they send one person, let's say a pioneer, who goes and approaches those women. This is not the way to do it, unfortunately, because in the best, let's say, case scenario, you can end up on your own in bed and drunk, because this is basically the way to do it. So I could talk about this topic for an hour and so, but I have this limit of 5 to up to 7 minutes, as Rafael said, so I'll try to give you a crash course on how to improve your game with women, yeah? So how to increase your chances in this environment, which is clubs and pubs, yeah? So the most important thing is the moment you enter, because the moment you enter such a venue just sets the tone for the whole evening. So all you have to do when you enter a pub or a club, you have to just look like you own the place. You have to be the ultimate alpha dog, because women love alpha males. Yeah? They look for them because they are genetically hardwired to mate with such guys. So when you enter any venue, you have to look straight, you have to walk briskly, and you have to be loud, okay? Because I noticed that sober guys usually are quite quiet, but when you are an alpha dog, you are generally loud, yeah? And it doesn't mean that you have to shout, because an alpha dog doesn't shout, because he's confident, he knows who he is, yeah? So for example, he wouldn't say like, this song rocks, yeah? But he would say, this song rocks. Can you see the difference? Anyway, so I tell you why it is important, because women basically are only attracted to social proof. This is actually everything that matters when you pick up a woman. You have to have good social proof, And how to build this social proof? It's very tricky, because social proof is subjective. You could be like a Harvard professor, but you go to a pub and you are nobody over there, The bouncer who decides who gets in and who stays, he has social proof. He's the man over there, So the best idea is you have to plan your, let's say, evenings. You have to frequent, I would say, 2 or 3 places, make friends with the bartender, tip him generously, make friends with, let's say, the bouncers, the doorman, everybody you know over there. Then you could be Mr. Nobody outside. When you enter this particular club, they are local celebrities, so it's very, very important. What else? It's important simply because women would never date and would never go with a guy of a lower status than them, yeah? So you have to have at least the same status as a woman, yeah? And generally, women in an environment like this, they have a higher status by definition, because they usually choose the suitors. It's not the man who chooses women. You hardly ever, unless you're a rock star or, let's say, Brad Pitt, it doesn't happen, yeah? What else? I said that you should be loud, yeah? It's very important, and especially when it comes to body language, it's the subject of my speech, you should never, and I should really stress this, you should never lean in to a woman, if you listen to her, because this is, let's say, loud environment. But, this 5 centimeters closer to a woman when she's saying something will never make any difference, yeah? So whenever you talk to a woman, you should be straight. You never lean, because in this way, you're still showing this lower status, you know? So alpha dog doesn't happen, you know? They don't want something like this, yeah? You always stay, these women around there, they keep chatting, and he eventually, you know, he will listen or not. He decides, yeah? Because he is so confident. What else? If you enter, let's say, a venue like this, and you are on your own, you don't lure around and kind of, let's say, stare at the woman or a group of women for 5 or 10 minutes. Because this is simply creepy, you know? And women don't like creepy boys, you know, because they just, it's a put-off, isn't it? So what you do when you see a group of 3 women, or a group of women and men, because you can also approach groups of men and women, this is even better because the chances of approaching such a group are 10 times easier. You have to decide on a group and approach them within the first 3 up to 5 seconds. You go to a group, and the body language is very important because you cannot face this group like this because this is challenging. You always stand, something like this, position yourself to a group, and you ask them some silly question. You know? It could be some opinion question because women are just dying to express their opinion. You know, they love talking, yeah? So you ask them like, oh, ladies, I noticed you know, it's like, you know, my friend is organizing a bachelor's party. What kind of music should he choose? They say, you know, 80s or something. And the one important thing is, when you approach a group, you should always add some time constraint. Do you know what it is?
Yes, I think that quiz showed you.
Yeah, exactly. So you should say that you have only 1 minute to talk with them, you know, and you can body rock, you know, so it gives them some sort of impression that they can lose you any moment, you know, because you have a bunch of friends over there waiting for you because you are so super busy, you know. So you talk with them, you rock your body, you know, and you just walk, look at the watch, you know, you have to go in a second, and you talk. And you should never be preachy, you know. Women hate when you give statements, so whenever she says something and asks you, you always repeat, and what do you think? In this lower tone, you know, this has to be like, you know, lower tone. And when she asks you something, you say, really? And what do you think? This is a conversation to have with a woman later on, yes? When you have a bunch of friends, and they could be the most boring guys ever, but you have to pretend that whatever they're saying, this is the most interesting thing ever, you know? Because the party is where you are. You don't keep staring around, you know? You don't do these things, yeah? So anyway, if you want to know more, you have to just get to this book that Rafał told you about, yeah, which is called Magic Bullets. It was written by Savoy and Mystery. Those are the biggest, let's say, the biggest gurus when it comes to the art of seduction in the world. They organize boot camps around the world. And these 300 pages will entirely change your life, guys. So I recommend it. Women can also read it and learn something about their nature. And why? Yeah, because this book is really interesting because it's based on the assumption that all our behaviors are somehow innate, that we were designed through centuries of thousands of years. That's why men prefer women with bigger hips, because throughout centuries it guaranteed, I would say, easier birth and more offspring. That's why women prefer guys with bigger pockets, simply because they have access to resources. So they prefer alpha male who is more successful, because if she mates with a successful guy, she and her offspring has bigger chances of survival. So have a look at this book and enjoy your time in the classes. Thank you.